Hi, darling. Welcome back. Imagine you wake up in the morning and you try to open your WhatsApp and it's not connecting. You try and say, let me watch some TV or something, and Netflix isn't loading. You're hungry. You're like, okay, let me just go to a restaurant and get some food. Your Uber app isn't working. And even when you do get to the restaurant, they tell you you need a QR code to access the menu. Scary, right? How we are so dependent on the internet. To have an internet connection has become a literal human need in South Africa. On today's video, I want to talk about our dependence on the digital space. We are literally dependent. It's not even about convenience anymore. Without these digital spaces, there's going to be a lot of things that we might lose. If the internet ever decides to crash, we're done. We're literally done. We already have problematic infrastructure with load shedding. So the internet crashing at some point could be a possibility that we need to actually think about. So think about it. What are the things that we consume that we need daily? A lot of us have subscriptions. Like, for example, if you want to watch TV or you want to watch a movie, a lot of people use Netflix. If you want to listen to music, we have subscriptions such as Spotify and Apple Music. Even our phones, we have to pay for storage. Like, we don't have physical photo albums anymore. I don't see people doing scrapbooks anymore. So a lot of us have to rely on these services, the cloud services, in order to save our pictures. A lot of restaurants have also moved digital. We don't have physical menus in some of the restaurants in South Africa. And then on top of that, there's even something that worries me. I know it's a technological advancement. We have internet connected cars, which means our cars that are being made now, like by a few years from now, even the manufacturers say that a lot of cars will become internet connected cars. What does it mean? It means you will have to pay data. You will have to have a monthly subscription that you pay. And people are already doing it. Honestly, people are already doing it. You have to pay a monthly subscription so that your car continuously is connected to the internet. What does the internet do for the car? It helps your car lock itself, check any problems on the car, navigation systems. It can even tell you if your car has someone, if you left someone by mistake inside the car and you lock them in the car, especially children. And it also connects you immediately to emergency services, which are all good things. But you can see that even our cars are now going to function. They are functioning through the internet. Even to travel, we need apps like Uber and Bolt. Not to mention just banking apps. We use banking apps nowadays. Like, banking apps are so convenient. They're so easy. They're in our pocket. You can do transactions. You don't need to go to the bank anymore to transfer money to people. So we are digitally dependent. We have a huge dependence on the digital platforms, which is not necessarily a horrible thing, because I understand why. Digital platforms have a lot of advantages because you are able to have minimalist things, like you don't need to have a lot of clutter. Before, we used to have CDs, we used to have DVDs. Now you just have an app. You just pay a subscription in order to watch any movie that you would like to watch, if it's allowed within your country. You save space, it's convenient. Long ago, people used to have to travel to Mr. Video just to get a movie. You had to travel. So it is convenient. And some might say it even is cheaper to have everything on digital platforms, which is also debatable. What I want us to do is to play and think about a few scenarios. What would happen if the internet decided to crash in South Africa. Let's go for banking apps and banks in general. If the internet decided to crash, people who use banking apps will be affected because you won't be able to do digital payments anymore. Even some people will get delays on their salaries. And think about it, we already have load shedding. So imagine load shedding plus an internet crash. Now you can't even withdraw money from an ATM because everything has crashed. That is a actual possibility. As ATMs crash, as banking apps start to not work, what do you have to do? Even if you want to go to a restaurant, you can't do digital payments at the restaurant. Cash becomes king again. Now you need to carry around physical cash without the convenience of digital payment, because let's be honest, a lot of us forget our cards, a lot of us forget cash, to bring cash when we move, because it's just easy. You don't want to get robbed. Carrying money around feels less secure than actually just carrying your card or a banking app on your phone. Let's also think about education and think about workspaces. A lot of education now, a lot of schools require digital platforms. A lot of even high schools now, they use iPads, they use smart boards. A lot of people require internet. Even people at work, you need to use platforms like Google Meetings, you need to use Zoom. There's a lot of digital platforms that are required for you to literally have access to certain resources. So imagine if that crashes. Now you don't even have access to the resources, your textbooks, your notes, everything is digital. So if the internet crashes, your work, you don't have access to your work. Unless you have physical copies, you don't have access to your work. Information blackout. Think about the fact that we will lose a lot of information, and information such as news, which means a lot of panic might happen, because now the only way people are going to spread news is by word of mouth, which can even cause more panic because you can't confirm the source. You can't confirm whether the information is true or not, because it's not from a credible source. It's from oral conversation. And then let's think about the government. Government infrastructure such as e-filing and platforms like Home Affairs, when you need to apply for a date to booking, the online booking system. If that crashes, imagine what that means. And then we go to things like cars. If our cars need internet, most people don't own a map. So GPS is kind of essential if you don't know where you're going. So if there's an internet crash, your car is basically, you have to do it the old school way to figure out how to get to your destination. And even simple things like keeping your memories. If the internet decides to crash, even if it's just for a day, you don't have access to your cloud. You don't have access to your pictures, your memories. Unlike if you had a physical album, you don't even have access to music or entertainment, because we don't collect CDs anymore. We don't collect DVDs and movies anymore because people don't have CD players. People don't have DVDs. And this is not to say that we need to go back into the past and do that. It's just mentioning the possibility, the fact that we depend on digital media way more. We depend on the internet. It's not about convenience anymore. Unless you're in a very rural area, we all depend on the digital platforms in order to actually just day-to-day communication. Most people don't even do phone calls anymore. They just do WhatsApp calls. So see how much our lives need the internet. I think it's very intentional. It is very intentional for us to depend on the digital space, because if we all need the digital space to do the most normal things, entertainment, music, information, news, that means we are basically being controlled. We don't have control over our entertainment. We don't have control over the information that we consume, because whoever is controlling the internet, if they decide they would like to switch it off one day, because censorships do happen in other countries. Imagine if they decide to just crash the internet for a day. We are going to panic. It's going to be panic. And it's so crazy how everything we need is digital. Like even me talking to you right now is on an online platform, YouTube. That's how it's normal for us to communicate online. But I'm worried we don't own things that are physical anymore. Basically, even your car, you don't fully own it, even if you buy it, because just to get the best of the best out of your car has to be connected to the internet. If ever the internet were to crash, I feel like the only communities that would probably survive and be able to handle it are rural communities. People who live in cities depend a lot on the internet, and those are the people who will have the worst experience if the internet were to crash. So we also need to think about it. What happens as us, as South Africans? What can we do? There's also something potentially beautiful about the internet crashing. What if the internet crashing would mean that people would start investing in going outside and actually meeting people? People wouldn't have to now use dating apps in order to meet their romantic partners or social media. You would have to now go outside and meet physical communities of people who would actually be interested or you share similar interests with. Imagine that the internet crashing, it could be a very bad thing, but there's also the positive possibility that now people won't even be scared to be free when they go out to places, because nobody's going to film me if I'm being weird and dancing awkwardly in public, because now a lot of us are scared to even fully immerse ourselves when we go out to clubs or just gatherings or something, or weddings, because you feel that you are being surveilled. Because our phones are everywhere. People love to film people and put them on TikTok or Facebook or somewhere, and you end up trending. So there is a dark side to the internet crashing, but there's also a potential. This is theoretical possibilities that I want us to think about. There's potential of new communities or things resembling the past a little. So what do we do about this? What do we do about this? We all have subscriptions, and most of us have some form of subscription, some form of digital media that we need. We need Wi-Fi, we need data. What is the way forward as we have traded convenience for dependence? I'm saying sometimes we shouldn't fix things that are not broken. I think about a lot of the objects that we had in the past, and there's a resurgence. I'm seeing some young people investing in CD players, in DVD players. That could be something you could think about, or a vinyl player, investing in those things. Even if you use it for decoration, maybe one day you might need it. I think certain elements of physical media are needed. We need to have things that are tangible, because even books, I know ebooks exist. I forgot to mention ebooks in the beginning, but ebooks also exist, which means you lose the feeling of reading a physical book. There's just something different. I enjoy reading a physical book because when I'm reading a digital book, it strains my eyes. It hurts my eyes after a while. So reading a physical book, smelling it, it's just more tactile. It's more interesting for me. I enjoy it. So we don't have physical copies of things anymore. Probably you have to go back to your parents' house to see and rummage over their things. Maybe you might see CDs and DVDs, but most young people don't invest in these things. Most Gen Z and millennials don't invest in these things. And I'm worried. What are we going to do if the internet blacks out, even for one day. So, what my solution is, I think, as much as we love the convenience, I think we should also invest in some of the old artifacts. Let's invest in a DVD player, even because there's even modern ones that are being created now where you can just, it's very beautiful, it's very artistic, it's very simple design. There's a lot of new designs for CD players that you could actually invest in, or even just get a USB and store a lot of things for entertainment into your USB. That could be potential solutions. But how do you feel about the fact that we don't own anything and we need digital media in order to just control our daily lives? We need the digital platforms in order to just have a simple, smooth day. I want to hear your opinions in the comment section. And if you got to the end of this video, leave a phone or a laptop emoji in the comment section. And thank you for watching, darling. Bye bye.